Mm-hmm.
There you go.
There we go. Well, hello everybody. I'm watching the monitor here, and sorry about the black screen for a second there, but must be some gremlins in the works. After all, it is a holiday, isn't it? Welcome to the Inworld review for the 31st of March, there we go again, 2013. And I'm glad it's not tomorrow, or there'll be even more gremlins in the works, if you know what I mean. Well, it is a bit of a holiday weekend, of course, this Sunday. So we were running around earlier trying to round up some people to appear on the show, and now we've got loads of them. So they're not all full celebrating after all. Right, where to start? We've had crashes galore and reconnections before we came on air, so I've lost my main list of links. The only we're wishing a happy 4th birthday to Inworld, which of course is one of the independent, although War Garden grids on Open Simulator. Real Extend have released a new client, but I haven't had a chance to check it out, but apparently it works as an embeddable web client for virtual worlds, although currently only in Firefox and Chrome, so a lot of it has to do with the browser you're using. And what else? What else have I got here up in the headlines that crashed a minute ago? Well, nothing much at all, except for the big news, of course, the very big news. And that is that we left you hanging on last week in suspense, ready for a big announcement that was going to happen on Monday. And if those of you who didn't guess, will no doubt have realised that Monday's announcement was all about the Second Life 10th birthday celebrations, or I think I should say community celebrations. Those of you watching live via Metaverse Week in Review, of course, have just seen a few clips put together by Crap Mariner and others sort of trailing that event. And you've also just seen a clip, actually it's sort of called Don't Hurt Me, and it's all about animal protection, animal rights awareness, shall we say. And we have some guests who will be joining us in the studio to talk about that too very shortly. As usual, before I get round to introducing the rest of our guests, it's time to turn over here to Tara, my co-presenter, for her various take on the week. So if you'll take it away, Tara, it's over to you.
Yeah, well, there's something about the week before Easter that certainly it's the lead-in for some holidays for a lot of people. School kids are out of school. There's a couple of holidays in the UK, I know, around the Easter weekend, which aren't not holidays in the US side of things. But in the RL Sim in my location, we happen to be in a little stretch of absolutely amazing weather, with temperatures well up into the 60s, which is very unusual for this time of year. And it's been, yesterday was sunny, today is sunny. It's supposed to be sunny for a few more. So my condolences to those in the European side of things who are still getting snow, or in other parts of the U.S. that have still been getting snow recently. But I'm certainly basking in being able to have some doors open. And otherwise, I looked through news items, and there were the birthday announcements. There's some wonderful pictures that Honor McMillan took this week in a place that I'm definitely going to have to go check out, called Grizzly Creek Forest Sanctuary in Maine Store. Someone who is creating some really, really wonderful birds, small birds, not big birds, small birds. Which there have been small birds around, and there's some pretty nice ones, but I'm always on the lookout for good small birds, because I tend to be something of a bird watcher in real life, not anything formal at all. I just enjoy watching them, and I enjoy hearing them this time of year. And I also enjoy hearing the big birds this time of year, as I was noted one night this week. It was well after dark. There was a flock of Canadian geese went over, and any of you who live around where they are know they honk a lot, and as they're in motion. And of course, anyone who lives in the continental U.S., where Canadian geese have decided it's a pretty fun place to live year round, is I'm always happy to hear them headed north because there are a few too many of them that just decided to linger on this side of the border. Anyhow, I'm not sure what else to add to my comments this week. I'm certainly looking forward to hearing some more about the animal kindness video and that project. And there's a bunch of critters around on stage and some extra Easter goodies, including in the Easter basket. Not only is Pet Love, our intrepid camera person, sitting in the Easter basket in front of the big rabbit, there's a couple of eggs in there. One of them is random presents. I have no idea what it will deliver. It was a freebie. And I also have one that will give you a free dinosaur. So if you happen to be in the vicinity of Chilbo Sim, the northwest corner where we are broadcasting from, swing by and you can click on the eggs and get some freebies. And also I should note that Tyga, the kitty cat who's sitting to my let's see, he's sitting to my right, is currently sporting a broken Easter egg hat, which is a little goodie from Kitty Cats this week. Anyway, I'm not sure what else to add right at the moment, so I'm going to toss it back to Mel, and I suspect we're going to hear from Saffia pretty quick. Well,
thank you, Tara. That was probably your shortest ever intro.
They're just news. There just wasn't any. Oh, wait a minute. You know what? There is one little item I'll mention.
Okay.
Yes, one thing.
Hi.
If you follow Hamlet's blog, you might have noticed a comment made about the Oculus Rift. The Oculus Rift was a Kickstarter project, or it is a Kickstarter project, and it's a new 3D wraparound glasses. Their big difference from what's been introduced thus far is they've got almost 180-degree view span, and the pre-release comments are this makes a huge difference. And for those who kicked in on the Kickstarter project, they are now, as of this past week, are starting to send out the developer kits, which include the Oculus glasses and a bunch of other goodies. And I may be able to give you a bit more of a report about those soon, because I ponied up for on the Kickstarter, because I thought, well, this is just too cool to pass up. But the interesting note from Hamlet's blog was actually something that, from my reading of the original announcement when the Kickstarter project kicked off, is the suspicion that these are going to work rather well for Second Life once the appropriate bits of interface are figured out. Much as we enjoy the use of space navigators for filming, I'm optimistic that there may be a fairly easy setup to be able to use Oculus to have a 3D experience of a 3D wraparound experience of Second Life rather than just a flat screen in front of you. So stay tuned on that one. Who knows what I may be able to to add to that in the weeks ahead. I have no idea how long it'll be before my name comes up. They had a huge response on the Kickstarter, so they've got something like 10 or 15,000 kits to send out, and they figure it's going to take them a while to get through them all.
Yeah, that's actually been coming up all over the place on the feeds, and of course, I know you put your money down on the Leap device when it arrives, and I believe that's shipping shortly as well.
Yeah, there was one interesting comment in the to Hamlet's mention of it, and that was somebody who commented that they wondered about those who don't touch type, since the glasses definitely cut you. And it occurred to me that any developer worth their salt would presumably do something fairly quickly to make a small, to make a visible keyboard, kind of like perhaps on the bottom of the edge, the bottom part of the view, so you can see even if you can't see your hands, you can still see what keys you're hitting. And people would probably get so they could do that. This is one of these things that I don't worry about it because I'm a touch typer anyway, provided I get my fingers on the right keys. as anybody who touch types
Yeah.
knows. If you don't happen to be looking,
That's a very.
yeah. Go ahead, Mel. Oops. Looks like he just lost. Oh dear,
he
just
seems
lost.
to have disappeared.
He seems to have fallen out. Yes. Okay. Well, he'll be back. I'm sure. There he is.
Sure.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm waiting. Okay. I was waiting for you to finish. Sorry, there's a dreadful breakup on voice at the moment. Yeah. Right. Well, thanks. Yeah, I actually did a podcast yesterday with Bear Bernard, an audio podcast where he's absolutely fascinated by something else called the Pinocchio Project, which apparently is sort of uncanny valley facial mapping onto mesh. But again, the details to me are few and far between on that. So it's all wonderful advances, I think, in interfacing technology coming our way. Well, I'll be hunting for news today as we go because I'm sort of putting up pages that crashed just before the show. So I'm going to get on with introducing our guests. And as always, unexpectedly this week, in fact, it's welcome back to Saffia Widdershins. Hi, Saffia.
Hello, Mal. I thought I'd come along because I've got various bits of news to share.
Exactly. Well, of course, you left us on a cliffhanger last week, and we now know what that was. So I guess that's first on the agenda today. SL10B.
First on the agenda, SL10B Community Celebration has launched. We've got 20 sims which people will be able to apply to get land on over starting on April the 15th, and they'll have a full month to apply, and then they'll have about 2 weeks. When it's confirmed, it will open to them, and they'll have about, I think, 3 weeks to build their plots, and then the event will open, and there will be a week of celebrations leading up to the birthday itself on June the 23rd. So people can actually, there will be 24/7 music parties. And visiting all the builds. There'll be talks again. I hope you'll be doing a talk, Mel, at least one, probably several. And all of that will be going on. All the goodness will be going on. Then this year, we're very lucky. We've secured the Sims for an extra week. So even after the party and the events have finished, people will still be able to come in, go around, look at all the buildings that they missed. That was an event last year. There was just so much going on in so short a time that people didn't get to see as much as they wanted to. But this year, they'll have that extra week when they'll be able to do that.
Great.
And it all looks like fun. We're already getting people saying, how can I be a performer? How can I book my sim? And we're just saying, hang on till April the 15th, and then you can start applying.
While we sort it all out, yeah, it's good to be nice and ahead too. So by the time it comes around, it'll be fully booked, and I'll be doing my bit. I hope to help out on the PR, of course. So
yes,
I'll go there.
You're on the team. Yeah, we're trying to publicise this as much as possible, and I think it's going to be huge, and I think it's going to be really exciting. It is the 10th birthday, and that's very special.
Yeah, the round number. And have we heard any rumours or anything of Linden Labs doing anything on this occasion, or is it all going to be down to us, do you think?
I think it's going to be completely community this year again. And we're also going to do the same thing as we did last year, that we will have a TP point where, because although this is we're calling it the SL10B community celebration, that's not to exclude anyone else who wants to organise a different party or a different celebration, and we will link to them. This one, for example, is going to be general level, so that it's suitable for everyone on the grid to come and visit, from the youngest to the oldest and everyone in between. But there are people who would like to have an adult celebration because, of course, the adult stuff is a significant part of Second Life. So we would be able to, again, have a link to that, and people could go off and visit the adult celebration if people want to organise one.
Right. Okay. I'm noticing a back channel note from our camera person, Pet Love, wonderful Pet Love here, saying, damn, she's lost the host. No, she's now saying, no, all's good. I thought I had vanished for a minute, even though I can see myself.
Yeah, your voice vanished there for a moment when I was babbling.
Yeah, yeah, there is something in the words today, but we better put that down to the holidays, I guess. Some very fishy things going on.
Yeah,
now,
Saffia,
okay, I thought,
before we leave Saffia, I just wanted to comment on the fabulous hat.
Thank you. Well, I wanted to comment on yours. This is a birthday outfit from Boudoir. I'm going to stand up so that Pet, if she can actually take a close-up of this, because this dress comes from Boudoir and the hat does too, and I think it's got everything Eastery on it. If you look carefully, you'll even see little birds flying. There's butterflies flying around, the flowers are springing up. I've even got little chicks and eggs built into the skirt. I just thought it was such fun that I wanted to wear it.
Oh,
but
definitely.
I think your hat is amazing too. Where did you get that one?
That one's actually from the Happy Hat, which is right here right across in the next Salmon Mangione. Rahula is the creator.
Well, it's
been a neighbor for several years.
Gorgeous. It's absolutely gorgeous. And yeah, if you look at my skirt, you can see these little chicks are perched on it, and Easter flowers, not very like England at the moment, where it's all freezing cold and miserable in winter still. But the dress cheers me up.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's great.
And I was going to tell you about a couple of other things that are going on at the same time, if you would like me to, Mal.
Yes, just carry on.
Well, you may have noticed that I've got teddy bears rather than rabbits on my chair at the moment, and this is because I picked these up at the arcade Gacha. These bears are actually made by Sway Dench. They're cookie bears, miniature cookie bears. And the Gacha, the arcade has a Gacha. It has not huge items, but sort of small fun items like these little cookie bears. And you pay a small amount of lindens. These bears are actually just 25 lindens. And you press the gambling machine. The whole thing is set up to look like Brighton Pier. It's designed by Los Hyde, who is the most wonderful designer who works in real life in doing 3D animation for movies, and who regards Second Life as a kind of outlet for his creative talents that, you know, most people kind of come through Second Life and then go on to other things. He's come into Second Life with a kind of solid professional background. And he's designed this wonderful model of Brighton Pier, which is full of kind of penny arcade machines. And each of them is a separate designer or creator who's filled it with little items like these cookie bears. And what you do, you pay 25 lindens and you get a cookie bear in return. You can't choose which one you get. Some people make effort to collect all of them, and of course sometimes get the same one
Spend a fortune.
3 times. Yes. I bought 4, and I was very lucky. I got all different ones. You can see 3 of them here.
I went on something like that recently, and I got 2 of what I was after very quickly, and I just got fed up of coughing up more money in vain attempt to get the third one I wanted.
Yeah.
They are rightly called catchers.
And well, anyway, I thought I'd tell you about that because it's closing.
Lovely.
It's closing tomorrow, so it's your last chance to see. And something else that is very time limited, the Tinies of Raglanshire, led by Todi Nakamura and Clover Denzo, have created an April Fool's house.
Ah, I saw this on your blog, yes.
That's right. It's absolutely wonderful. It's packed with the most hilarious things, all sorts of tricks and jokes, and dozens of gifts giving away that you can find hidden in the house. So it's really worth a visit. They've spent months planning it. They spent about a month building it, and it's open for just 3 days. And today is day 2. It'll be open for April Fool's Day as well, and then it closes.
Whoa. That's a must see.
Yeah.
That is
I think so.
Really have.
I can't believe that. Spend months building it and then you open it for a day.
There is 3 days. 3 days, but we missed day 1. There is a link on the Print Perfect blog. So there's a link to it. It's in Raglandshire, but it's high in the sky. So the best way to get it is to go and see it.
Oh, my fault. For the exact link. So the right altitude, so to speak.
That's right. And I've got one more thing to show, but I'm going to actually ask Pet Love to take the camera away for a few minutes so I can change. Can you do that, Pet? And Mal or Tara, perhaps you could talk about something for a minute while I just do a very quick change.
That's how my voice is breaking up, my audio is breaking up, but I gather you want the camera turned away from you. So yes, we will be polite. And I think it's about time, in fact, that we brought our other guests into the conversation. Over on my far left is a good old friend of the channel here, and my monitor's just gone. Oh no, here we are. We're okay. It's Ham Rambler, or John Mahan, or Dublin Mayor, or whatever you want to call him. Welcome, Ham.
Great, thank you very much. Good to be here.
And you, I'm glad to say, your voice is breaking up on me too, but never mind. I think it's fine in World. You're back in the UK now, aren't you?
I am. I'm back in the UK from having lived and worked in the Middle East for a year. But I'm only back briefly because my next adventure is heading east. I'm looking to head out to Kazakhstan in about in about a couple of weeks' time. That's my plan, and I'll be very interested to see how I can manage all of this from out there.
Indeed. Yeah, have they got decent bandwidth and stuff? Or?
I presume they have. According to some colleagues who are out there already, they have internet. I'm just not sure what the bandwidth it's like.
Yeah, you'll find out when you get there. That's the problem.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, absolutely.
I was chatting with Slimmy earlier, and she's just arrived back in London too. So it sounds like a sort of convergence time. But we might be having a meet-up later in the week if you're.
Oh well, if you are, let me know. I am still in the UK. I'm in Ireland, but will be in the UK during the week. So by all means, keep me posted. I'd love to come and join you for that.
Yeah, will do. So how last time we saw you, it was before St. Paddy's Day. Now it's after St. Paddy's Day. How did that go?
Oh, St. Patrick's Day was, as always, was superb in Dublin. We crashed the sim quite a number of times over the course of 2 or 3 days. I've got Inworld voice there. Just a second. I thought I had that on. We were incredibly busy. We had a couple of issues with one of the sims, but we still managed to successfully get through it all. And and Dublin is continuing to be busy and welcome lots of new people. It seems to become well known. And let's see if I get a quick change here where I'm not showing up as first speaking, because I certainly am involved. I've been asked to look at a project to build a couple of school premises, or university premises, based on the project I was mentioning last time, where the university in New Zealand and one in Switzerland picked up an award for the work they were doing through Second Life, and now they want me to create the campuses in Inworld together. So that'll be a building project coming up that's outside of my Dublin project, and that should be interesting as well if we have that to that. Apart
Great.
from that,
Great.
I shall be enjoying the SL10B. I'm sure we're going to be doing something Irish in there somewhere. I certainly hope so. And I also hope, of course, that next week and the week after, when my travelling will be ongoing, I'll be able to come in and see you all again.
Wonderful. Well, as I said earlier, apologies to anybody listening who thinks this is a bit disjointed. A lot of the answers to my questions and the conversation here is breaking up on me, but so I'm kind of ad-libbing a bit here. Let's hopefully everybody here is interested in animals. I know that I forego my pussycat avatar to do this show, but we all have a great affinity with animals, I think, and it seems to me an awful lot of people I know in Second Life are accompanied by various pussycats and rabbits and other wonderful critters at the other end of the line. In other words, their typists, their keyboard is being attacked by all sorts of critters. Anyway, you probably noticed, those of you watching live, we did show a clip before this show about animal rights. It was filmed by our wonderful Pet Love Pet Shop here. And the two people behind the benefit, which I believe happened in the week, are with us now. So next to Rambler, we have, let me see, Karlin James Zepp. Welcome, Karlin. I think Karlin's the name for you.
Yeah, you can call me Karlin or Carl.
And over in what to me to be an empty seat to Saffia, although I'm not sure it is, do we actually have Diane? No, we don't have Anne.
No, we don't. She had a couple of SL problems. She was here, she left, she came back, she left, she came back, she left. So a couple of SL glitches.
It's hard to tell what are technical faults and SL glitches today. So hence my not being quite sure whether she was there or not. So we'll stick to you. Tell me, what was the event actually happened during the last week, didn't it? Maybe you'd like to tell us about the campaign and the event itself.
Well, the event began last Saturday, went through to Sunday in the early hours where I live, and I live in the UK. But it began at 3 p.m. SLT on Saturday and went through to 3 a.m. SLT Sunday morning. It was filled with a lot of live acts, which people would have seen at the beginning of the show. Amazing acts they were. The whole point of the event was to raise awareness of how people can help animals that are endangered or are being threatened with harm, or abused, mistreated, abused, and everything else. And the information was given out during the show by Miss Hezabel Blackheart. She sat in the audience now watching. She was giving out information throughout the whole event, plus the performers themselves who are actually over the stream, the voice, were giving information of how people can actually help animals that are being abused.
Right, well, I think it's a topic very close to my heart. I know. I mean, I'm one of these people who sometimes feels more emotionally disturbed when I see an animal being abused than if I see a fellow human being abused. I'm not sure what that says about me, but it astonishes me how casually neglectful people can be of fellow creatures, and downright aggressive towards them. So I think this is a message we really need to see spread.
Well, you made a point there. How casual people can be about animals. They can walk past, hungry donkeys, dogs that are being kicked, cats that are starving on the streets or whatever. People can just walk past and ignore them, and maybe they have a little feeling of guilt or something, I don't know. But the point was that just a little shout of help, stop, don't do this, go to the authorities, make the authorities aware of the situation of an animal in a certain environment or whatever, and the authorities are there to help, and they're happy to help. That's what they're there for. It is illegal in probably just about every country of the world to abuse animals. And yeah, you can call the police, whatever. They're happy to help.
Yeah. I'm going to take the liberty. I've done this on a couple of shows before, but I have a little postcard poster. I actually have it in Word if any of you want it after. Right by my desk here. And it's a lovely picture of two cats embraced. And it's a quote from Voltaire, and I'm going to read it, actually. I think it deserves being read again. This is it. People who dare to advance that animals are but animated machines can never have observed with attention the character of animals, not to have distinguished among them the different voices of need, of suffering, of joy, of pain, of love, of anger, and all of their affections. It would be very strange that they should express so well what they could not feel.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a wonderful quote that really says it all. I wish more people would acknowledge that.
As humans, we're still animals. And the difference between humans and animals is we have a voice. The animals don't. So the point of the event was to give a voice for the animals to say, you know, sometimes we get abused by you guys. Help us, please. And it was an awesome event, actually. We had such brilliant artists. We had a lot of designers donating free gifts. Personally, I had probably between 200 and 300 IMs from people saying how awesome it was, how they were so supportive, that it was a brilliant event where they felt that finally, you know, there was through, you know, several hundred, maybe 1,000 voices in SL being heard as one, being able to talk about things, being able to discuss where they could help, how they could help. We had a video screen up with a few pictures that were a little bit, I don't know about disturbing, but enlightening. And also the names of 3 worldwide organizations where people could click a button and help financially. But really the whole point was about awareness and how you could basically do little things that wouldn't cost anything, like basically just shouting, stop. If you see an animal being abused, a human being will listen to you if someone shouts stop loud enough. You know, pop into your animal shelter with an old cardigan, an old woolen pullover or whatever, which will keep an animal warm for the night. When you're going out shopping for pet food for your pets, you know, buy an extra couple of tins of pet food and drop them into your local shelter. And basically that was what it was about. And it worked. A lot of people got the message and felt united.
That's great. And just look after the strays on our doorsteps and keep an eye out for them too.
There's some
you must be. Sorry, Tower. Yes.
I was just going to say there are some, you know, I support a couple of organizations in the U.S. that I make contributions to that are concerned with animal welfare and help to animals and serve as rescue operations for. Well, I got turned on to them by Hurricane Katrina and their work in that particular disaster as far as rescuing people's pets and taking care of them, and there's some amazing stories of pets being reunited. But one of the projects that they're very involved in helping with is the what's called traps, spay and release, which is dealing with feral cats in particular. You know, as anyone who's in any kind of an urban area knows, there's invariably a large, you know, a significant number of cats that are essentially wild. You know, that get by with perhaps handouts, but you know, or scavenging, or just reverting to, you know, hunting behavior. But the real issue with feral cats is that there's a couple of them. One, that they're really not very adoptable because they've never been basically domesticated. They haven't had the human contact that makes them good pets. But the other big issue is they reproduce like crazy. And the program that's developed in a number of places, and it seems to be expanding, is to trap, neuter, or spay, and then release them back to the to where they were. And a lot of these kitties are they're doing okay, but what they don't need is more of them. And there is an island on someplace on the East Coast, and I can't remember the name of it now, where they had a really bad feral cat problem, and there was a program set up, and they brought in, I forget how many people who ran. They worked it out with the community, but they brought in a team who worked for a couple of weeks, trapping, spaying, releasing. And had a huge impact on the number of cats. I mean, over the next year or so, I think they did a repeat visit 6 months later, and the number of cats that had not been dealt with was dramatically reduced, and they weren't getting the dramatic increase in cat population that they had been, and the locals loved it. It really worked well because there were a lot of these kitties that had places they were getting fed and stuff, but the increasing numbers were resulting in a lot of animals in trouble, and animals being hurt and shot, and a lot of bad treatment. So that's great. I'm really appreciative of projects like yours to increase awareness, because I think it's really important.
That's a wonderful story, and that's a big part of what Don't Hurt Me was all about. Was about, if cats are left wild and are breeding, they're going to suffer somehow. The little kittens and everything that are born out of the cats not being taken care of, the little kittens are going to die of hunger, thirst, whatever. And this is all about relieving the suffering of animals. And we as humans, we're responsible we domesticated dogs and cats. We did that. And now if they're running wild, we can help in so many ways. And that story from you is a perfect example of how we can help.
That was what I thought. It enables, I guess it's the sort of thing, people who are willing to feed animals, and there are folks around that, will put food out. The issue quickly becomes numbers, because of animals that are still reproducing. That when that can be interrupted, trap them briefly, check them out, see to it they can't reproduce anymore, and then let them.
Well, I was smiling a little bit to myself earlier when you made the comment about the Canadian geese, saying there's far too many here. They need to go back home across the borders. Well, I didn't know if you were talking about the Canadian geese or the Canadians in general.
No, just the Canadian geese.
Okay.
I just want to say it was a huge success, and I want to put out personal thanks here to Pet Love and Emo, who did the filming for Metaverse. They were there for the full 12 hours of the event, and also to the designers that contributed free gifts, and to all the performing artists. It was an amazing show, as you will have seen on the video that was produced by Metaverse. We just had a huge amount of support. There was just everybody said, yes, we're there, we will help, we would do whatever we can to help this event. And it was fantastic, and big thank you to everybody involved.
That's wonderful. I'm glad it was. I'm glad it went off so well. I know Saffia has animals around her. Do you? I suppose you travel so much, Ham. It wouldn't be really appropriate for you to be keeping pets. What are your thoughts on all this? Oh, maybe.
Yes, Ham talks with his mic muted.
Oh.
Maybe.
No, I didn't. I was asking. I see my lips are moving in World. I was asking Saffia and Ham for their thoughts on this. I know you got pets, Saffia. I'm not sure what Ham does. He travels a lot. So.
Well, I have Siobhan, of course, who I think could actually contribute to the conversation. Siobhan, what do you think? Yeah, she's a very chatty cat and will respond when asked. But yeah, she's a rescue cat. And so was my previous cat, Torvald, who was a really formidable one who's... I wouldn't recommend him as being kind to other animals. He was not just a great mouser, he actually brought home rabbits. He would go out into the local fields and catch rabbits, which is pretty good for a cat, actually. I mean, not the nicest of things to do, but impressive as a hunter. Yeah. He was abandoned when he was about 6 weeks old. He was thrown away, and some neighbour children found him in a bin liner, thrown away behind some dustbins by some local shops. They heard him meowing, and they knew I had hand-reared kittens and you had hand-reared kittens, so they brought him to me, this tiny little ginger scrap. He was actually a polydactyl cat. He had extra toes. And he was a wonderful, wonderful cat, very fierce, very tough. And he used to go for walks with me. We would set off walking over the local woods and fields together. The only cat I've ever had who wanted to do that. And he was great. But he was an example of how cruelly animals can be treated. And Siobhan was found in a tree with her two sisters, and they think that the mother had just decided to have the kittens out of doors and then for some reason hadn't come back. Perhaps, her owners had got worried and locked her in or something. But she was found abandoned, and so she came to me. Though we got her from the Blue Cross. So, yeah. One of the things I find interesting about this question about, thinking about humans and thinking about animals and looking after them both, or that the RSPCA in its original form was actually formed by William Wilberforce, the same guy who was so key in the abolition of slavery in the British Empire.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's a good point there, Saffia.
It's it's not an either or. I think
It's about empathy and appreciation for life in general.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, empathy is good, isn't it? There.
And I think Siobhan would agree with
Ham,
that.
if you're still with Am I talking over somebody or not? I was just wondering if
Ham's in-world voice is working, but maybe he's got his Skype mic muted.
Let me see if he's still on the. He's on the Skype chat. Yeah.
Right. I think there is a problem with Skype chat. I was trying to bring Ham into the conversation to see if he had any thoughts on animals, if he has any pets. Okay. Right.
Okay. Well.
So can anybody hear me? Can anybody hear me? I'm sorry.
I can hear you, Mel, loud and clear.
I'm hearing you fine.
Right. Oh, right. Okay. I was asking Ham if he had any thoughts on this issue, but maybe Ham's AFK. I'm getting such bad signals here. It's really getting a bit out of order.
I can tell you about my new dress.
Yes.
Okay. I'll tell you what. If you do that, I'll get Tara to take over the sort of hosting bit of this for a little bit, and I'm going to try and tweak my sound settings because something is very oddly wrong here. Ham is saying he's here and talking, and of course course,
We're
I
not
can't
getting
hear
him on
Um,
Skype. No.
right. No, I can't hear him in Skype.
Yeah, I'm not hearing him in Skype either.
It sounds like there's something very fishy going on
Okay,
with
he's
our
okay.
communications.
Yeah. Well, go ahead and tweak things, Mel, and Saffia and I will talk about her wonderful dress.
Well, yes. What I was going to say, there's a new issue of Prim Perfect out this week.
Oh, right. Yes.
And the theme of it is art in Second Life. And we've got interviews with some fantastic people like Brino and Marcus Inkpen and Shani Asley. We've got a lovely article from Rowan Dereth on virtual art in general, looking at different kinds of virtual art. We've got recommendations of art galleries to visit. We've got an article on art for your virtual home. So we've got an awful lot of things related, and then we look at textures, and we look at texturing your skybox, because of course we're doing a year-long how to build your own home series, and this month we're looking at building internal walls and doorways, and we're also looking at how to texture those walls, and we've got 2 articles on wonderful texture places to visit and get your textures from. We've also got another article about how a hyacinth tiramisu of Silent Sparrow makes the textures for her clothes and other things as well. And she's
that ought to be interesting. Yeah.
She's actually given us a free texture. You can see in the magazine exactly how she designed it, and she's given the texture itself away so that you can make a roller blind with it. And the magazine contains instructions how to do that, and the texture is free in the magazine. And we're also giving away things like textures that you can use in your skybox. Beck Janus, who's writing a series on mesh, all about mesh, has actually created a mesh chair, which is being given away in the magazine too, so that you can have a go at texturing a mesh chair following her instructions. So there's lots, and there's one final giveaway which is quite unusual for us, because it's this dress, and it's
really?
a gorgeous dress. But if you get the magazine, let me do a quick twirl. If you get the magazine, you can actually download this dress. Now, this dress is very special because it was created for 1 Billion Rising. It was created by Lyrical Bazaar, who does full perm textures and other things. And she only found out about OBR too late to give it as a gift for the event, which is a shame, because I'm sure everyone would have wanted to wear a dress like this and be dancing. Well, at least all the females would have wanted to wear a dress like this and dance in it.
Details.
But what we said was, it's such a beautiful dress. Could we put it in the magazine as a gift? And she was excited about that idea. So actually, if you get the Prim Perfect magazine and turn to the section where we talk about OBR in our charity news, this dress is available as a gift. Isn't that wonderful?
Oh, that's fabulous. Yes, I was going to trot over and pick up the issue anyway, because, I'm intrigued. You've gotten far enough along in the building that I figure, okay, well, there may be some interesting tips in here that there's always more to learn about building Inworld. And I don't think it matters how long you've been, resin prims and mangling them, that you can always learn something new. It's very clear. It's certainly when you start talking about texturing sculptees, the texturing process is way different than just create a flat image and bring it in, because there are curves and bends and shadows, and with any luck you get shadow maps too. But knowing what the shadows are doing, you really kind of have to study the things to kind of figure out what to put where.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I don't think that they've got quite on. They're only on part 2 of the Skybox, but there is interesting stuff. I mean, I was reading it. I'm a fairly tyro builder, but I was just looking at it and thinking, wow, I didn't know that. Gosh, that makes so much sense. And, it's got a lot of great stuff in it. And so this magazine has really, I mean, this is only applies to the Inworld issue, but basically what you have to do is just sit there, turning the pages over and going, oh, gift tab, I'll get something. Gift tab, I'll get something. There's so much in it that's really going to be fun and help you as well.
Yeah,
So,
that's a wonderful feature too. I mean, it's got to be a real plus in the world of in-world magazines, which I haven't seen anybody doing that.
No, well, you can do it with IntelliBook, but I think we're the only ones. We're also the only ones who actually do the advertising. It's really odd. You can do it through Calameo. I don't know if you can do it through Issue as well, but on our web version, we have links to everything in the articles. They're all live links. So if you're reading about an art gallery, there will be a live link so you can click and go straight off to the gallery. And we have links to all our adverts as well, so you can just go and get the stuff that you're seeing in the ads. And we also say to our advertisers they can put in note cards, they can put in landmarks, they can put in GIFs if they want to, so that they can. It's not just an ad in Print Perfect, there's so much more. And I don't know why other magazines don't do this.
Good question.
Because, you can make your magazine really interactive in world and out of world. I mean, on the web, what we can do is create links, which will take you off to the places or to the websites or whatever. In world, we do that, but we also have this capacity to give out note cards and GIFs. And, so it makes magazines really exciting. I just don't know why more people don't do that.
That's a really good question. Well, you're ahead of the pack.
Okay, I think I'm back. Can you all hear me?
Yay.
Yes, indeed.
I am actually switched back to the proper machine where my mic and headphones seem to be working. I've kept the other one open because it seems to work better that way. Have we got John back? Rambler?
Yes, yeah, I think so. I think.
Oh, wonderful.
Oh, yes.
I think it's all come back together at the end.
This is amazing. There are so many gremlins in the works today. I can't believe that what didn't work an hour ago is now suddenly working again of its own accord. So
Easter Bunny's chewing on the cords.
Yeah. I was asking earlier, particularly to Ham. I know you travel a lot, Ham, so I can't imagine you have a sort of resident pet. But are you interested?
No, I haven't. I haven't had the ability to have a pet for quite a long time. I think the last pet I had was a dog almost 20 years ago when I was living and working in Ireland, and my family were there, so the dog was well looked after when I was away doing my flying thing. But since then, I've had some thoughts, and none of them really would have been suitable. I think, with the conversation that you've been having here, with a job that has me traveling so much, I would have required to have pet minders constantly, like almost 2 or 3 days a week doing that. And I'm not sure that would be the best way to develop a relationship with a pet where you're just away all the time,
Well, exactly.
Yeah. So I decided not to do that for those reasons. While I still have voice and everything working, I'm just wondering if you remember last time I was on, Mal, I recounted a quick meeting I had with Philip Rosedale. And the book that he's recommended, I don't know if any of you had a chance to get a copy of it or start reading it.
I've read it.
What did you think of it, out of curiosity?
Okay, I better just interrupt. You're breaking up on me again, but hopefully we're recording fine. Saffia is actually about to sort of pop off, so we'll just say goodbye to Saffia. Thanks for being here.
I was going to say, I've read that book, so I can tell you that I've read the book before I go.
Okay.
And I I liked it. I enjoyed it, but I found it all a bit neat and convenient. I would have liked to have seen a little more. I don't know, like the old guy who turned
Sauciness.
out. Well, no, not sauciness. I think, like, you know, everyone who could have been helpful was helpful. The characters were very black and white. There weren't very many shades of grey. I think I would have liked a little. Do you know what I mean?
We know what your reading material is now.
Yeah. Well, just in the characters. No, I wasn't thinking of content, but the characters were like, you know, either good or bad, and there was no kind of not really any suggestion of a journey or moral ambiguities, and I found that a little limited. But I thought the story was absolutely cracking, and a great action story. What did you think, Ham?
Well, bearing in mind the recommendation I got for it, it was a slightly scary view of the not too distant future.
Yeah.
I mean, if all of the things that were going on in the book, and I don't want to spoil it for anybody else who might want to get around to read it, but all of the things that were discussed in there are actually not too far away from where we are now. And I think it was that joining up which I think took me. I found interesting, and you're right. There was a lot of character development that could have been done. But I suspect there's at least another 2 or 3 books in the series, shall we say, to come when the author gets the feedback that a little bit more development of the characters would have got a long way, as well as possibly seeing, well, what happens now that they've come to this big conclusion, which again I won't talk about in case I spoil it.
Yeah.
You know, what do they do with it? So, but it was the fact that Philip was so intrigued by it. I think that obviously got me interested. And if you bear in mind that the whole Second Life thing came about because of his fascination with Snow
Crash. Yes.
Snow Crash.
Okay, that is scary.
Yeah. So that was all. Well, you read it and you've got a view on it, and I'll be just interested to see how other people see it if they get a chance to read it. I'd certainly recommend it because
I would definitely.
If you have anybody who's been in Second Life or has spent a lot of time online with virtual worlds or any such thing, will understand it very easily. I think if you weren't involved in that level, I think you might find it very difficult to get into or get your head around the concept. But otherwise. Anyway, recommend. I'm interested to hear. The book is called Ready Player One, in case you didn't get it from last time.
Did anyone else read it? Has anyone else read it?
I haven't had a chance yet. It's on my list of ones to get. So
I got as far as
booking list.
Yeah, I got as far as downloading it onto my Kindle, and it's backlogged.
But if
that's good.
Game of Thrones.
We get to discuss it in 2 months' time or in 6 months' time, whatever.
Oh, yeah.
I personally have a goal of reading a book a week. I did. So I was going to say, I personally have a goal of reading a book a week, but I didn't actually get around to reading that one, although it was publicized a little. I'm currently reading a book. It's an autobiography by Frank Skinner, who's a British comedian. And it is hilarious. So if you want to pick that up from a second-hand bookshop or buy it new or whatever, it's hilarious. And just one of the little things that he said that made me laugh was when he was interviewing Ozzy Osbourne. He said to Ozzy, he said, when I was 16, I was in a band and we played Paranoid. And Ozzy Osbourne said, oh, he said, that's funny. So was I.
That somehow
excellent response.
Excellent response.
Well, no, I really am going to say goodbye to everyone.
Okay. Before you go, Saffia, one of the things on my list here, because I know the registrations are open basically according to the blog during the week. It's the Home and Garden Expo, May 24th to June the 2nd.
Oh, yes, that's going to be fantastic. And yeah, that's coming up shortly.
Basically, this is another. Yeah, it's another fundraiser for Relay for Life, and if you're
That's right.
interested, look up Home Garden Expo. So yeah.
Yeah, and we'll also,
Okay, well, thanks for being with us.
we'll also be doing talks at the Home and Garden Expo. I'll be putting out something about that fairly soon. But we do talks at the birthday, and we do talks, meet the designer talks at the Home and Garden Expo, which is a chance for people to come along and hear their favourite designer talking about their work.
Yeah. And there are a lot of them. So
There are a lot, yes.
Hopefully we'll get to record some of those again too. So very interesting chats. Okay, well, thanks very much for being here, Saffia. I know you're dying to get off. So
Yes.
we seem to keep coming up with questions to keep you in here, don't we?
No worries.
Okay, we'll no doubt see you next week. And thanks
See you
for being
next week. Bye,
here.
everyone.
Okey-doke.
Bye, sir.
Now, we also have in the chat today, he hasn't been able to get his avatar in position, so I don't know, maybe Pet Love would like to camera around to the giant bunny with a moving mouse, and we'll pretend that that's Joel Foner, because we do actually have Joel Foner on the line. Hi, Joel.
Well, let's see if I'm here this way. Am I here this way?
You are. You're not in Inworld, but you are joining us on the Skype call. So how are things? Welcome back.
Things are great, other than I'm obviously not in a land of worthwhile bandwidth, but I'm glad this is working. So, does this sound okay?
Yes, it sounds a bit like a phone line, but we can hear you clear enough. And you'll be pleased to know that we've transformed you into a rabbit in World. So there's a lovely rabbit on set here that's got a sort of wiggling nose and moving lips. So we're pretending it's you.
Perfect.
So,
I guess I hadn't found any rabbit ears for my dragon. That would have been just great, huh?
Exactly. I'm watching it on the monitor. It's really rather cute.
Yeah. So I actually had a thought, and believe it or not, this one is tied to virtual worlds. I've been involved in a couple of these massively online courses lately. I don't know if
the MOOCs.
The MOOCs, yeah. And more, these are being run by quite reputable academic institutions. And one of them that I'm involved with in leading change in organizations, the professor just let on in an email that they have 54,000 registrants for this course.
Wow.
Oh, which course?
I'd have to go fish up the URL, but it's about leading change in organizations. And so the interesting thing, and they've run into the same things that you would expect, is that you have a huge number of people registered. The fall off rate is very dramatic over the first few weeks, but they still end up with a very large class size, much larger than you can manage in any kind of one-on-one kind of setting. But what came to mind is that this is really, I think, another one of those things where if virtual world technology could scale better, it could be a great solution. But if you end up with thousands of people, there just doesn't seem to be a current solution for doing that in an effective way. At the same time, a bunch of people... go ahead, sorry.
Well, I just noticed about it sometime in the last week or so, there was a big experiment. I think it was either Intel or IBM, I think, that tried an open sim experiment to actually start scaling a lot of avatars. And
it's Intel and the US Army.
Apparently it was that was right, yeah. Apparently it failed miserably, but it was a very good experiment. The results were very positive, even though they didn't succeed on their target. But what platform is this MOOC using, or are they working cross platforms?
It's basically all web browser based with videos. So the way it works is they have a video for each lesson, reference material, and then the idea is the class breaks into groups and creates much smaller working groups, and that's a place where this could work. I guess the idea is they have basically people are to form teams. They have an online forum, so it's really conventional web presentation with forums with email kind of support. And this is one of the sites. There are a couple of different sites. One is Coursera, corscra.org. And another one is, I think, edx.org, and there are a few others. But the number of courses they have available and the range and depth have really grown dramatically in the last year or so.
I mean, it's well, you know, I thought this kind of system is really very integral to the future of education, isn't it? You know, sort of in the modern age, you know, being able to deliver a specialist subject to a mass audience and maybe let the information disseminate and be discussed by smaller groups.
Yeah. I mean, what came to mind is, given that a lot of this is web-based, it would be interesting if they could use things like the Jive in-browser kind of experience, and be able to just have a bunch of people together. Although, what I'm also seeing is that people are just bailing out on that and using Google Plus Hangouts with video for a number of these things. So I just thought it was an interesting trend. The numbers of people involved. You know, even if you end up with 1,000 or 2 instead of 50,000, that's staggering class section.
No, I mean, I think registration actually goes a long way to giving. I mean, I suspect the audience is kind of a bit in the middle. It's a bit like looking at Second Life, where you've got a lot of registered users, but you know, they're nowhere near like the number of registered users on at any one time. So, but, you know, presumably their outreach is, you know, like you say, the fact that they've registered that many people with interest, you know, and have people popping in and out, presumably, they must be reaching a pretty phenomenal amount.
Right, and part of the way that they drive involvement, and this is, you know, some of it is just general academic thinking, and some of it is a little bit of gamification. Is I've seen some of the courses where they, you know, they'll offer a certificate of completion, and some of the courses actually have multiple tracks where, based on your level of engagement and involvement, they'll give you a different type of a certificate. So if you just watch all the videos, you get one thing. If you watch the videos and do all the assignments, you get something else. And then if you do everything and your grade is at a certain level, then you get an actual full-on completion. You've actually mastered something kind of certificate.
Yeah.
So in any case, just that was my thought for the day, is just that I wonder whether that will trigger more rethink of these kind of technologies.
It's interesting. I mean, that I wonder if in the background that has influenced our good friends at Linden Lab, who have, of course, as we heard, been surreptitiously, as it were, going around educators trying to get them back. Whether they realise, have we missed something here?
Yeah. I have to say, having gone through the connectivity, bandwidth, won't behave, won't log in thing again here at Pete's today, it seems to me that working with low-end connections has got to be something that gets solved for it to really go mainstream. Because it's one thing to be on a high-end connection on a high-end machine in a great environment acoustically. The reality is you can do any of these courses sitting in a browser in a very noisy place with headphones on. So
yeah, that's the big difference. I think, you know, bandwidth expectations are certainly changing, but you know, when you're out and about, you know, you are reliant on the cloud and the Wi-Fi.
The cloud and wireless and Wi-Fi, which are notoriously less reliable than hardwired is. Not to mention the fact that laptops are not necessarily equipped with the video cards and what have you that you need for a virtual environment to be realistically, you know, to render decently.
Yeah. Although I have to say, I'm less concerned about that angle than I was a couple years ago, because I think about a year ago I picked up a $500 HP laptop as a kick-around machine, and it routinely is able to get 15 or 20 frames per second in typical settings.
That's good.
You know, with the built-in accelerator, which is no great shakes. So I mean, I'm sure that like the netbooks are going to have trouble, things like that. I think one of the huge issues is tablets and iPads and things like that.
Yeah.
Where, I mean, I've found it's really funny, the shift, even at where I work, where, we're doing more mobile stuff lately. And I'm finding more often than not, like almost 90% of the time, I'll just go to a meeting and grab my iPad with a little Logitech keyboard, because it's just so much more hassle to grab the notebook, and I don't need it.
Yeah.
Because with the combination of a keyboard and an iPad, you're set.
I think that the tablets are really taking over from laptops now.
Yeah,
for sure.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was just saying. I think they're taking over for sure. I mean, I don't know if they can impact the sort of thing done on workstations, but when it comes to mobile tech, tablets are just so much easier, and they, in many cases, they're faster. They're more up to date.
And I mean, how can you argue with something that doesn't need to be recharged all day long?
Very true. Very true.
It basically comes down to what you need and what you can afford. I mean, really, if you're not traveling, you don't need a laptop. You don't need a tablet. You can just have a desktop, and you can get a lot of performance out of a desktop than you can out of a similar priced laptop or tablet. So you decide what you want to do, and then you choose what you can afford and buy the best thing for the job you need it to do. And a lot of people, they think, oh, well, it's trendy to have a tablet or a laptop, so I'll buy one. But really, for $1,000, you're better off buying a desktop if all you want to do is play in SL or in Worlds or wherever you want to play.
It's quite interesting, actually. We've discussed this on previous shows, but there's Pocket Metaverse on the iPad, which doesn't have the graphical interface, but it allows you to go into Second Life and sort of do chat and organize your groups and correspond and communicate. And there is an Android app which actually gives you a graphical Lumia, I think it's called, or something, which is a kind of Second Life client for Android. And yes, my lips are off since I was busy refiguring sound. Right, I'll put my lips on again. Sorry, folks. I apologise for being lipless. Hopefully, I wasn't soundless. Right. It's coming. I think a lot of high-end games are now being ported. They're talking about porting, game engines onto the iPad. Some of them via the web, some of them as native clients. So I think it's coming. I'm a big fan of one called Wee Wo, which is a virtual tourism thing. I mean, you've got Washington's Monument and several places in Spain at the moment, but they're quite good to sort of pop in and have a meeting on. And I don't think you'll ever have a thing with iPads and things where you have the required time for immersion that you might have on the desktop. In the same way, it's very hard to edit video or something on the iPad. But I think we'll better get in there one way or another in the near future. It is all change. As they say, there was a very curious thing which didn't get very good reviews in the end on the iPad this week. It was some major shopping chain in America. I forget who, but they decided to bring their store onto the iPad as a virtual world where you walk around picking stuff off the shelves and filling your baskets and things. And apparently it's a good idea that just didn't work. They didn't put enough work into the appearance of it, I think. Tell me, Joel, if you're still there. Were you listening earlier when we were talking about animals and animal protection rights?
I'm still here. I heard a piece of that, but I was kind of in the midst of trying to get connected.
Yeah. You have any thoughts on that? You have critters around, don't you?
Oh yeah, we have our little mountain lion who runs the house. Yeah, I mean, I think.
Wow, a mountain lion.
Well, he's actually a cat. But he's a Siberian.
He thinks he's a mountain lion when he looks in the mirror. We know that.
Exactly.
Now, may I be the one to add stupid little comments here and there, or little anecdotes that I consider funny? Because going back to laptops, I've only ever owned one, and it was a really crappy compact that used to cut out when it got too hot. And I left it on my dining room table one night. It wasn't plugged in or anything, but I came downstairs early one morning and I found my 7-year-old son at the dining room table and my laptop in a million pieces. He'd found a screwdriver.
Oh no!
And I'm not joking. It was open. You could see the circuitry, all the little keys from the keypad were all laid out across the table like little Lego blocks. And I looked at him and I said, "Julian, what are you doing?" And he looked up at me. He said, "I'm building a time machine." That was his answer.
That is, I think, one of the best answers ever.
Hasn't he heard of Lego?
Well, there's another story that goes with that, because a couple of weeks earlier, I was sat in the garden with him, and it was a very sunny day, and he was sat on my lap. You know, when you sat with your child on your lap, and you're stroking the hair, and you're stroking their fingers and everything else, and suddenly his fingernail caught me. So I said to him, "Julian, I'm going to have to clip your fingernails." And he looked up at me, he said, "Don't you dare." I said, "What do you mean, don't I dare?" He said, "If you clip my fingernails, I will never be able to get my Legos apart." So, anyway, kids are funny.
Oh, dear. Okay, well, I think, folks, we better start rounding this sort of up. We've our short holiday show has been just as long as it always is, which is always great because it's the conversation that matters, and I've even been able to hear it for the last 15 minutes. But I think it's about time to wrap up and move over to some of the clips. We've got quite a lot of stuff. Some dance to end the show with later on Metaverse Week in Review. And a video, in fact, about Mappy's latest game, something about the search for lost Incas. I've forgotten the name now in all the chaos. But a load of good stuff for you to keep watching if you're watching us live. So I'd like to thank all the guests who've turned up on this holiday bravely. They sacrificed their Easter dinners or whatever it is to be here, no doubt. First, thanks to in rabbit form, Joel Foner.
Thanks, Mel.
In her absence, to Saffia again. Thanks to Rambler.
Thank you. I hope to see you again next week with a bit of luck.
And thanks also. Yeah, we'd love to see you next week too. I think I forget. Oh, we will. We will in 2 weeks' time. We'll be joined by Pookie Amsterdam, which should be fun too. And also to Karlin James Zepp to get the full word, the full name in.
Thank you, Mel. It was a pleasure to lose my show business cherry on your show.
Oh, wonderful! I like to hear that. I don't know whether
it's here somewhere. We'll find it. We'll find it. Don't worry.
Yeah, should I go around bragging about somebody who lost their cherry to me on the show? Never mind. Not going there. Not going there. I'd also like to offer thanks to Cole's partner in this thing, Diane, who tried enormously to get here and be on the show to chat too, but one way or another, the gremlins, especially Linden Labs in her case, were not having it, so she couldn't make it.
I don't know if they're gremlins or she just needs to pay a bill.
Oh dear. Okay, well, I'm busy shifting my attention now over to the live stream studio, where I'm going to click a small ad for the SL Inquirer, followed by various clips. I'll leave you to enjoy them if you're staying with us live.
Do I get to say goodbye too, even though my avatar is?
Okay. Before that, I will switch straight to Tara. So, Tara, your roundup, your bit.
Yeah, well, Tara is presently disguised as a kitty cat perched on the edge of the chair there, since my RL avatar seems to be having some difficulty with Second Life getting back in again.
You're back.
we'll see. I'm still looking at a black screen. Anyhow, I'm delighted to hear from all of you today. It's been a great show and great fun. And as always, I'm always happy to talk about critters. My two kitties in the RL Sim are I sometimes refer to as Safeway kittens, because they were in fact abandoned in the woods. And at least the story that the kids who had the two kittens, and they were 6 or 7 weeks old at the time, that was their story, and they were sticking to it. And as it turned out, they had two, and one of them was a polydactyl, and the other was a flame point Siamese. And I, of course, had to bring them both home, and they are just wonderful cats. And have grown considerably since in the 7-8 years that I've had them. So, and they're happy, and I'm happy, and they catch things. And we're now into the official spring mouse hunting season. So they bring me live ones and dead ones.
I'm always concerned when a Siamese cat is delivered to you on its own, because that means there's a twin somewhere without a home.
Yeah. Well, his twin, Livingston's twin, is the polydactyl he came with. It's like they're almost mirror images of each other, as far as their markings, because the other one is an orange kitty, but his feet are white, and so his white feet ended up on the flame point.
You know why his feet were white? Because cats have a tendency to walk through wet cement.
That's why. Yeah, my avatar is just not getting there. Definitely Second Life is experiencing some sorts of things here. Anyway, so back to you, Mel. Enjoy the rest of your Easter, everyone, and if you're celebrating it, or if you're not celebrating it, enjoy the rest of your weekend.
Thanks, Tara.
Thank you, Tara.
Okay, well, thank you, Tara. It's very disorientating looking at ghostly voices coming out of empty chairs here. So, very, very odd feeling indeed. But thank you for that. There are recordings of the show, the Inworld review, by the way, on my account, Mal Burns, at YouTube. And obviously, if you go to MBTV Live or MetaverseWeekInReview.com, you'll be able to find recordings of the whole Week in Review show, of which this will be part. So even if you're not watching it live, hopefully you will be able to get something out of it later. That's it for this week, folks. We'll be back in World sometime after the midday hour next week. And I'm now going to move us back to the studio for an hour or two of clips. So we'll see you again next time.